Okay, so this is my first live in the group. Um, I guess I'll tell you a little bit about myself before we go deep. So my name's Miranda, and I've been coaching for a couple of years now, and I've been helping people. I've had like a strong desire to help people all my life, and I like to help people solve their problems and do better and get to the next level and get the life that they want and that they deserve. And a lot of work goes into just showing people that they deserve what they want, and that they can work towards it. Working towards it, and putting the work in to just get there is one thing, but so many people need to just even be convinced to start with that they deserve a good life and deserve peace and joy and all those good things. And so I'm here to, help you get to that point. And that's just something I've always wanted. I've always loved that. And then finally, a couple of years ago, I decided to just turn it into a business and just do it every day, So I'm really pleased with my decision, and I'm glad that I went in the direction I went in. So I'll tell you a little bit about a little bit more about myself later on, but for now I want to cut to the chase and do this video. So Nicole said that the topic she wanted to go over was forgiveness, and that's really good. Forgiveness is huge. The first thing I'd like to say is people these days, with all these little spiritual leaders and stuff like that, we're taught that forgiveness is like something you've got to do if you want to ascend, and if you want to be a good person, you've got to forgive, and blah, 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 and you'll feel so much better if you forgive. That can't be forced. That cannot be forced. It's abusive to tell somebody, well, you really need to forgive so-and-so because whatever, blah, blah, whatever the excuse is. Please don't do that. Don't let anyone do that to you. And don't force yourself to try to see it somebody else's way, in order to be seen as the better person or whatever. That's not helping you. My advice in that kind of situation is, number one, don't listen to anybody else. This is between you and the person that did you wrong, period. When it comes to forgiving another person, I would say one of the huge points I like to make is if that person has done what they've done for their own reasons. It may not make any sense. You may never even know what that reason was, but people's bad behavior, 9 times out of 10 comes from a feeling of their own feeling of being hurt or done wrong or whatever, and they're coming from a point of pain that we may never know about. Not everybody is going to tell you about their pain point or what happened to them or what have you, and with that being the case, just remind yourself that they acted up because they were hurting. And if you can find a way, this can get kind of specific, so I wouldn't be able to go over all this in one video because there's too many possibilities, but if you can find a way to relate to that person and understand that they are doing what they're doing because of a point of pain like that, that will help you develop some compassion for them, because you can see, oh, well, they're doing this because ... And once you get to a point where you can have a little bit of compassion for them because you can relate in some way or another, like you're both hurting, right? That will help you. That can help you kind of lighten up a little bit, for lack of a better way to put it, and have a better viewpoint and say, well, we're both hurting. We both are struggling with something, and you may never understand it, and you don't have to, because we're not always going to have all the answers, and we're not always going to get all the answers. But I would say finding some kind of, if you can find in your mind some kind of even ground between you and the other person, that will help you get some compassion, and you develop some compassion for that person, and not feel as bad about it. And I have done that. I've had to do that with a lot of people so that I didn't hate them forever. You know, when I was growing up, my father was pretty hostile, and for a long time, I hated that, and I was deathly afraid of him a lot of the time. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I got some more information about him that I'd never had before, and that really helped me change my perspective. And I wasn't mad at him after that, because I realized why he was so upset, and that changed a lot for me, and I was never angry about it ever again. So that really helped. That really does help. But like I say, don't let people have you thinking that if you don't forgive somebody right away or whatever, that, you know, you're some horrible person who is never going to reach enlightenment and all this kind of nonsense. It's not like that at all. It's not like that at all. There's a part of me that wants to tell you that forgiveness isn't even necessarily 100% necessary, and for the time being, it's not. But we can go deeper into that later. But I would say, if it helps, you know, try to understand that that person has the behavior they have because they're coming from a place of pain as well, and they obviously haven't sorted it out. So, and don't let people guilt trip you into thinking you've got to forgive somebody, because there's nothing enlightened about that. That's actually bypassing, which is a whole other issue. And you don't want to do that, because that's ignoring the parts of yourself that do need resolution, and that's not going to help you. And it sure as hell is an ascension. So just don't let anyone try to make you feel guilty for not forgiving, because that's not it. And then I would say, for self-forgiveness, that's a whole other issue, but it's not as different, because you can apply that same rule to yourself. You can say to yourself, well, I did what I did because I was coming from a place of pain, but you'll have more insight into yourself, obviously, right? You know, as opposed to the other person a lot of the time. So you can say, well, I did that because I was feeling blah, 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 and I wasn't, you know, in the right mindset, or I had just experienced such and such tragedy, and it just drove me to do what I did. You were operating from a place of pain, and you just, you know, weren't in your right mind, if you want to call it that, at that time. So you can't hate yourself forever for making a mistake or doing something when you weren't even at your best level. Now, at that time, you were functioning from your highest level in that moment, but you know, you've got to cut yourself a break, because, you know, this thing where it's seen as being virtuous to or humble to you know, kind of hate yourself a little bit for what you've done. Oh, I'll never forgive myself, blah blah, you know, that was so horrible of me, I'll never forgive myself, blah, blah, blah. We're taught to really hold that in high regard, and the not forgiving yourself and hating yourself for something you've done, there's nothing enlightened about that. I don't think there's anything enlightened about that. You know, just because you forgive yourself or another person does not mean that you have let yourself off the hook, or you've let the other person off the hook. That's not it. That's coming from, the forgiveness is coming from a place of compassion. And the compassion comes from understanding and finding an even ground, you know, for one thing. So don't let that kind of stuff get in the way. And if you find yourself not able to forgive somebody, honestly, I say just give it some time. Just give it some time. You have to step back and really let yourself look at the situation from all sides, and give it time. We can go deeper into this. I don't want to drag this video out too long, because it is the first video, and I don't want to make them, I want to try to keep them kind of short and simple, you know, because I don't want to cram too much in one thing. But we can hash this out on a deeper level if you want. Just message me. I'm available like 80% of the time. So just reach out. But you know, it's okay to cut yourself a break. Just because you've forgiven yourself or forgiven the other person does not mean that you didn't learn. It doesn't mean that it makes it all okay what was done and stuff like that. But not necessarily. It just means that you made your peace with it, and you can make your peace with it. You can make your peace with that person, and you can certainly make your peace with yourself. So the virtue thing, where you just constantly hate yourself because of one thing you did. Oh, but no. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. People go on and on about shadow work and stuff like that, and whatever. But that's not. We're not going to do that, because that's like abuse to the self, and that's not fair to you. You can't learn about yourself as long as you're always beating yourself down. You can't learn about yourself as long as you're always beating the other person down, because you and the other person probably have a lot more in common than you might realize. So we can go into greater detail with that. And if you have comments or questions and stuff, leave it in the comments, and I'll go with you one by one, and we'll sort all that out too. I just didn't want to make the video too long, but anyway, I figured I would go over the forgiveness thing because that was a really good topic and a really good idea. And so I hope that helps and brings a little bit of clarity. I'm going to get better at the lives. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do these yet, so I just kind of came to sit outside on the porch to get some air. But so any ideas you have or suggestions or anything like that, by all means put it in the comments. Get everybody talking. Let's share some ideas. And then of course, like I say, if you want some one-on-one time to just kind of hash things out a little bit, figure things out, get a little bit of clarity, you are more than welcome to book a call with me. I do free 30-minute calls, and if doing the program is something that you're interested in, I completely, totally invite you to do that as well. But we can do the 30-minute call and just kind of feel things out and see where you are and where you want to be. So I hope that this video helps, and I will be doing another live hopefully next week. We'll see what happens. So let me know if this was helpful, and give me all your ideas and stuff in the comments. And thanks for tuning in. Okay, bye bye.